All right, everyone, welcome back to the Family Beatdown Fantasy Football League update show. This is week number 7. Got a little mixed up on my counting last week, but this is week number 7. Let's get right into it. Well, what can I say? The big game happened this weekend. It was quite a track meet. Notre Dame won 41-31, but they had to come from behind to do it. As you guys saw, it was everybody scored in bunches. First, Notre Dame scored. And then USC put on 24, and then Notre Dame put on 14, and that was your final 41-31. So a nice game, really competitive, I thought, throughout, but still 10-point margin for the Fighting Irish. Fighting Irish move up 3 spots in the rankings to number 11. Trojans, as you know, have dropped completely out of the national rankings and probably will stay there. Taking a look at what's coming up, Notre Dame is actually on a bye week this week as they rest up for number 22 Temple. And so there's another test for them. Only the second nationally ranked team that the Fighting Irish will have played this year. The other being the Clemson Tigers, who they lost to back a few weeks ago, 24-22. For the Trojans, the Trojans actually have quite a game on their hands this week. They take on number 3 Utah. Utah, as you know, is now a member of the Pac-12 conference. They joined along with Colorado a few years ago, and Utah is now sitting with the number 3 ranked team in all the country. So again, another big game for the Trojans. And one that is good. any win off a ranked team is going to really help the Trojans' season this year. Taking a look at the Stanford Cardinal game, actually Quincy and I will be in attendance in that game. I'm going to go up and visit the boy this weekend, and picked up tickets to see Stanford versus Washington. And Stanford is sitting at a number. Where are they? They're in number 10 ranking, right above Notre Dame, and they face the Fighting Irish towards the end of the season. So a nice common opponent there in the Stanford Cardinal. Let's take a look. Before we get into it, let's talk about bye weeks this week. We've got the Chicago Bears, Cincinnati Bengals, Denver Broncos, and Green Bay Packers all on bye. So Packers, Broncos, Bears, and Bengals. If you got any of those players, let's get them covered up. I took a look at the schedules earlier this week. I think most people are in pretty good shape on the bye weeks, but let's not forget to get those schedules covered up. Taking a look at our league, Tyson remains undefeated. Moist Mountain Men put up 156 points over Back That Pass Up 122 to move into a commanding first place lead at 6-0. Basic White Chicks thumped me pretty good. They moved to 5-1. Basic White Chicks 166 to 138 over Smell This. Those are our top 2 ranked teams. In other games, Grandpa gets on the good foot, 171.4 to 125.3 over the Rednecks. That was Grandpa's first win in a row. I thought it was his second, but no, it's his first win. He's off to a good streak starting now. Blood, Sweat, and Beer improves to 3-3 with a 135 to 111 win over Third Down for What, who drops to 1-5. Jed, you're not paying attention, man. You can do better than 1-5. You went to SIU, my friend. You can do better. Big Blue improves to 4-2, 121 to 118 victors over the Blue and Gold, who slipped to 3-3. And then Swamp Donkeys also at 5-1, thumped People of Color 180 to 124. And Ryan, you too are 1-5, and you're much better than that. I expect more out of you. Let's take a look at the standings for the playoffs right now. Moist Mountain Men leads the overall heap, and also the Cardinal Division at 6-0, followed by Basic White Chicks at 5-1, Blood, Sweat, and Beer at 3-3. Those are your 1, 3, and 5 teams. Your 2, 4, and 6 teams are down in the Gold Division. Swamp Donkeys improving to 5-1. Rick finally putting it together. Big Blue at 4-2. Veronica's having a great year for her. And then Blue and Gold somehow hanging on at 3-3. Smell This and sitting number 8 at 2-4. Oh my goodness! Just for what it's worth, I'm totally poning the league at work. I'm 6-0. I'm just saying, not everything is as shabby as Smell This is this week. Okay, so taking a look this week, I've got Aaron Rodgers on bye week, so I'm going to be starting Peyton Manning. Ruben Randall's listed as probable. He did jack squat the other night for me, and I do have Joaquin Bell, who's listed as questionable, so I need to pick up something there. I am projected to do 110. Third down for what is only projected to do 101. For Jed, Cam Newton still continues to find a way to win as the Panthers remain undefeated. They get Philadelphia this week, so that's a good matchup. Julio Jones listed as probable. He's got Randall Cobb listed as in the lineup, who's on bye this week for the Packers. Marshawn Lynch is listed as probable, expected to do 12.69. I'm going to give the win to Smell This, like I always do. For the Girard Invincibles, 125 to 82 projected over blue and gold right now. Jacob has lots of people on bye. He's got his Green Bay defense. He's got his kicker. He's got Randall Rogers as tight end. Anquan Bolden is questionable. Julian Edelman is probable. Matty Ryan is going against Tennessee. Jake's got problems all up and down that roster. For Grandpa, Matt Stafford against Minnesota. Stafford projected to do 44 for Grandpa. Adrian Peterson at 15. Grandpa does have a bye week with one of his running backs. But other than that, he looks to be in pretty good shape. I'm going to give the win to Girard Invincibles. Taking a look at our next game, Blood, Sweat, and Beer at 3-3 versus Back That Pass Up at 1-5. For Dani, Tom Brady gets the New York Giants this week. DeAndre Hopkins, who had a killer week last week, gets the Miami Dolphins, expected to go 17. I think he does even better than that this week. DeMarco Murray, 12.5. And who's that? Chad Johnson? Chris Johnson. Is that who it is? Chris Johnson. Yes, Chris Johnson for the Cardinals, expected to do 11 points for Dani. She's expected to do 138. Rebecca's projected to do 95. She's got Russell Wilson against San Francisco. San Francisco's horrible this year, so Seattle should tear them up. She does have a couple of players on bye, so you need to get those slots covered. But still, even with those slots, I don't think you have the most favorable matchups, Rebecca, and it just doesn't seem to be your year this year. I'm going to give the big momentum win to Blood, Sweat, and Beer, seeing Dani move to 4-3. Veronica taking on Swamp Donkeys. Big Blue versus Swamp Donkeys this weekend. This is a tough matchup. This is a marquee matchup. This is a 5-1 team in Swamp Donkeys taking on a 4-2 team in Big Blue. For Big Blue, Carson Palmer gets to start over Baltimore. It's a tough matchup, but good matchups all up and down. She's got Ryan Matthews at wide receiver. He's got a matchup against Houston, not that bad. The other Matthews, who's this? Jay Matthews, wide receiver. That's Jordan Matthews. She's looks like Veronica cornered the market on all those Matthews boys. She's got Jordan Matthews as wide receiver against Carolina. For Swamp Donkeys, he's got Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles starting at quarterback. Rick must know something that we all don't. But anyway, Blake Bortles, Larry Fitzgerald against Baltimore, Chad Johnson against Minnesota, Le'Veon Bell against Kansas City. All of these are going to be big. Oh, and look at this. Gurley. Who's that? Todd Gurley? Todd Gurley, the wide receiver. The running back from the St. Louis Rams is projected to do 23 points against Cleveland. Oh my, Rick. You have been doing your homework. Right now it's 137 to 112 in favor of Swamp Donkeys. I'm going to start rooting against the teams that have better records. Well, actually, both teams have better records than me, so I can't go with that theory. But I am going to start rooting for the underdogs. We're going to give the win to Veronica. It's People of Color at 1-5 against the Rednecks at 2-4. Both teams are playing subpar football this year. For Dawn, you've got the bye disease. You've got Forte on bye. You've got Jones on bye. Those are big holes to fill. You got Drew Brees against Indianapolis, which should be a pretty good day for him. Marcus Ingram also against Indianapolis, the 1-2 punch. And on People of Color, Andrew Luck against New Orleans, Marcus Colston against Indianapolis. Looks like Carlos Hyde listed as questionable. He's getting beat up this year up in San Francisco, but is still a pretty good running back. It's 110 to 109 right now in favor of the Rednecks. I'm going to give the win to People of Color. And in our game of the week, it's Moist Men of the Mountain at 6-0 versus Basic White Chicks at 5-1. It's brother against brother. It's Alex against Tyson. For Tyson, he's actually got Alex Smith as quarterback this week. Odell Beckham Jr. is projected to go strong against Dallas. And Gronkowski gets the New York Giants. So Tyson is expected to do 128. Alex is hurting on bye. Peyton Manning's on bye. James Jones is on bye. Eifert is on bye. Crosby is on bye. Alex is projected to do 63 points. As much as it pains me to do it, I'm going to have to give the win to Moist Men of the Mountain and see them improve to 7-0. Oh, the humanity. Let's talk real quick about our playoff structure. Week 7 is our halfway point. As you guys know, we play 13 games in the regular season here in the Family Beatdown League. So this being, in between week 6 and 7, this is our halfway point. In the playoffs right now, if the playoffs were to start today, your 1 through 6 teams would be Moist Men of the Mountain at number 1. Number 2, Swamp Donkeys. Number 3, the Basic White Chicks. Number 4, Big Blue. Number 5, Blood, Sweat, and Beer. And number 6, at Blue and Gold. Outside looking in right now, Gerard Invincibles at 3-3 could easily sneak in as the number 16. Grandpa just needs to get a few more wins under his belt. And number 8, Smell This at 2-4. It's going to be a long back half of the season for Smell This. At any rate, that's all the news that's fit to print. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next week. So long!